Welcome you all to the third session in the series What College Didn't Teach Me. This is an interview session with professionals from industry who share their thoughts and views to mold young minds. Today I'm happy to interact with someone from manufacturing engineering industry. We have Mr. Pramod Havanur with us from TVS Motor.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show,
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Pramod. It's great to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Pramod, they usually say that the rotation of the wheel has revolutionized the entire world. And for any economy, manufacturing industry is the brick and mortar.
Yeah.
But still people talk a lot about only IT boom and E, and the word E is more famous than the manufacturing sector. But whereas the manufacturing sector has a lot to contribute than the E. And I have also seen that you're very passionate about making a career in manufacturing sector, where most of your counterparts or your peer group would have preferred a job in IT sector.
Yeah.
What is it that made you choose for a sector job in manufacturing sector? When did you exactly decide to settle down in manufacturing sector?
I was more interested towards seeing how things are getting manufactured.
Yes.
I was more towards physical objects which are getting manufactured. So that was from the beginning of my engineering. I was more towards the manufacturing aspect of it rather than just a design or something else. So I had also chosen a lot of subjects which are more related towards manufacturing.
Yes.
So I thought I should make a career in manufacturing per se as a sector, but in that also more into a production area.
Yes.
So it was right from the beginning where my interest was more towards manufacturing, not on IT or any other categories.
This interest you realized somewhere while you pursuing your graduation, or
somewhere in the middle of my engineering.
yes.
I felt I should get into completely manufacturing sector.
Let me get you back to today's theme, Pramod.
Yeah.
The theme is What College Didn't Teach Me. How relevant do you think is this theme in the current context of engineering education?
I think this is a very, very important subject.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of gaps in terms of what industry wants and what colleges are actually looking at.
Yes.
So the very first step would be to realize what is the gap just before getting into anything
Correct.
concrete steps. I think this session or this subject probably will give that kind of awareness, and it will make people really understand what is the gap that we need to fill, because industry runs at a different pace, colleges or institutes run at a different pace.
Exactly.
So it's very hard that both match at a particular point. So I think it's a very, very valid subject at this point of time.
It's very heartening to note that a lot of companies, including TVS Motor, is supporting the continuous learning of employees, which is a very appreciative step. And they have also encouraged you to pursue your masters in a top-notch university in UK.
Yeah.
And Pramod, can you just tell us what is the difference? Can you compare and tell us what is the difference in the learnings where you have pursued your masters vis-a-vis what you have pursued at your graduation? What are the learnings in terms of what college didn't teach?
Okay. As you said, TVS certainly is keeps encouraging people, whoever wants to take up higher studies. So I had a chance to go to University of Warwick, which is in UK.
Yes.
It was mainly on a manufacturing systems.
Okay.
The masters was on manufacturing systems. So if we start comparing both what we learned here and what graduation or masters, the main focus what I felt in my masters was on how do we make students learn the subject. It was less on teaching and more on learning. So so every subject which was taught, let's say for example manufacturing, which we had a higher level of technology, which was a more technical subject. So it was more on how do we connect with the industries, taking case studies of industries which are very relevant in this particular time, and trying to apply that, trying to develop a solution in the process of learning the concepts of which are new technologies or anything that is coming in new in that particular branch or category of subject. It is more of how do we apply that into the real life problems.
Okay.
And the other aspect of it is the modeling or formulating the industry problems into theoretical, thereby you evolve a solution.
Correct.
So which I felt was completely missing in our engineering education system. It was more of syllabus, marks, and kind of completing the course.
Very often they say that colleges are more bothered about the completion of syllabus than imparting the prerequisite
That is also
skills.
important. It's not that is not
Yeah,
important.
it is important.
But the way the subject is taught, which, as I said, it is more of a teaching here. There it is more of a learning kind of an option.
The fine balance of
Learning,
case-based,
absolutely. It was more of case study, and the evaluation also was never like an exam. So we used to have either assignments or projects, wherein you need to apply.
More of hands-on.
More of hands-on. You need to apply, go to the industry, find out what is the problem, or go to anything. For example, we had a assignment of industrial engineering, which is a subject in most of the manufacturing, which is a very core subject. The assignment was to go to a McDonald's outlet and do industrial engineering study there.
Yes.
So you actually start applying all the concepts, and you start getting more, and once you know that, you don't forget the subject.
You have a first-hand account of what's happening and all that. Pramod, what do you expect when an industrial engineer or mechanical engineer, when he or she steps out of college, what is it, the skill set that they should possess, that when they face an interview, what knowledge, domain knowledge should they have, or what other additional knowledge they should have? Give us a lot of examples in this, because when they go in for interview, what are the exact skill set they should possess? And do you really feel that colleges are equipping them with this kind of skills?
Okay. Again, there are two kinds of broadly what I feel.
Yes.
Two kinds of skills that people should understand. One is technical skills, which are base and foundation, which we cannot leave it. The other skills is obviously the communication. How do you present yourself? Those are the soft skills.
Yes.
When you get into the technical skills aspect of it, it is very important a student who is appearing for the interview should know what is his strength in terms of technical.
Correct.
He might be good in design, or he may not be good in design. He might be good in manufacturing, or he might be good in mechatronics, whatever it is. So they have to know what is they are good in.
Strengths.
It's not be that an interview asks questions about design and he is not comfortable. So it is important for him to make it very clear that this is my strength. I am more interested towards this.
Yes.
Which also happened with me.
Correct.
So luckily I was asked that question. So in which category you prefer to work or
and all that.
Go further in that career? So when I said manufacturing, the entire interview was aligned towards manufacturing. So you know your strengths and you upright communicate to them. Thereby everything is in line. And then obviously the communication skills or the presentation skills, there's no need to be hurry in the interview. You don't have to rush in and then keep answering everything. So as far as technical things, fundamentals of whatever subject you like or whatever category you like has to be there. Fundamentals have to be right. Apart from that, yes, I think there are a lot of programs, lot of videos or the content you get on the internet, how to face an interview and all that. The more important is being prepared for everything, expecting certain questions. How do I answer? And there will be a lot of questions which are more on practical application. Suppose, for example, if you get into let's say you're manufacturing, so somebody might pick a pen and ask you, how can you tell what are the operations this pen will undergo? Right. So that can be a question. So we need to understand, because everything what we see is manufactured.
Correct.
So anything and everything can be asked. So those preparations much before you face an interview will certainly give an edge on that.
This is actually not, I'm just asking out of curiosity. Will profiling the students help? Like what are their strengths, where they stand before they go in for an interview, or when they exactly join the college? A bit of psychological profiling or an assessment, will it help?
Surely it will help.
Yeah.
Probably may not be at the time of joining, maybe after 1 or 2 years.
Yes. Yeah, somewhere
when they get into a their stream of engineering.
Yeah, around fourth semester.
Fourth semester or fifth semester.
Yeah.
Before, at least one semester before they get into the campus interviews.
Yeah.
So at least
because
they will have
you
some time
mentioned
to
that
prepare.
they should be aware of their strengths.
Yes.
So I just thought will
Yes,
profiling
surely it will
help?
help.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask you this current day students, the Gen Y, they are not interested in anything. Their attention spans are very less. They don't get glued on to anything quickly. But if you see their networking skills, their social networking skills and all that, tremendous.
Yeah.
So how can colleges use this platform to teach them the necessary skills to make them employable?
I think there are two different issues here.
Yeah.
One is the learning ability of students. Second is how colleges can adopt.
Yes.
So I think colleges cannot go away from all this technological changes that are happening. So they have to adopt in terms of, let's say for example, the social networking sites or WhatsApp or whatever it is. At least we used to have as part of kind of what you call interactive learning sessions through such platforms. So it will be a small group, maybe a small interested group of particular subject. Somebody will be interested in automobiles.
Like a club.
Like a club, basically. So those things will, one is they will always be in touch with those networking sites which they don't want to get away from. Plus they are also getting the input or the subject inputs which will enhance their knowledge. So it can be, and it can be run 24 hours. You don't have a specific time, right? So even after the college hours or after this, so particularly on specific categories, let's say for example, if somebody is interested in robotics, so there are a lot of things which are happening in robotics, the current system, because automation is one which is booming. So what is the current trend in robotics? Or there are a lot of things, exhibitions happen in terms of robotic displays.
Correct.
So people can communicate, and you can bring in industry people also as a part of that club, and be in constant touch with, which will expose students to a much more wider the area of the subject than just studies. I think colleges have to start adopting and thinking how to utilize this for making students understand the subject better than just telling, okay, no, it's going somewhere wrong. So I think we need to bring in as a, probably one of the solution is getting a small group, making them learn more about it, interact more about it, getting some industry people so that they interact with them directly.
So that they know the latest developments.
They know the latest development, which is probably one of the things where we missed as when we were passing out. We didn't know what is happening in the industry.
Yeah.
Because every now and then
that
things
disconnect
changing.
was
That
there.
disconnect can be bridged
Yeah.
if we really plan on that.
Okay.
And can be started as a small group.
Yeah.
For a particular.
And as it is, they are active on all this social media.
So they know, so they don't get disconnected also
Yes.
with the subjects, and
I
it creates more interest.
Yeah, it will be a big win-win.
Yes, absolutely.
They say that 85% of a person's success is because of human engineering. By human engineering, I mean personality, communication skills, interpersonal skills, negotiation, and only 15% is because of the technical knowledge. How true is this statement, Pramod?
I think it depends on the kind of job.
Yeah.
But both are important. There is no doubt on that.
Yeah.
If you are more towards technical and research kind of thing, the technical knowledge makes a lot of sense. Whereas if you are into getting into industry or a managerial kind of thing, you need to have a balance of both. But as I said earlier, it's important we need to realize what is our strength, and we also know where we need to improve.
Correct.
So it is a balance of both that people to do better in the industry.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of job.
Depends on the kind of job. But for example, emotional intelligence.
But usually industry complains that engineers lack these skills.
Because what has happened is, as I said, the focus is more on syllabus or scoring the marks, not on how do we prepare ourselves for the next role.
Correct.
So the probably in the final year or pre-final year, if the courses or the programs other than the subjects or the syllabus are more aligned towards how to make students aligned to the industry, which probably will bridge some gap between this, especially on the human engineering side.
Correct. Correct. Advise the students, Pramod, who are just average or below average, what skill sets they should have to make themselves industry ready or employable.
Okay.
What is your advice for just those average and below average students?
Yeah, I think one first thing is they should realize where they're not good at. It may be anything. It may be either subject or soft skill or anything, and I think they have to constantly work on it.
Correct.
It cannot be I attend a program and I forget. So those impact of those programs will be much lesser. So it has to be a constant effort. It can be a small improvement or a small growth, but it has to be a constant improvement and constant effort. Certainly it will bring, maybe you start 2 years early or 1 year early, understanding, okay, this is my current level and this is where I need to be. So there is a gap which I understand, which probably colleges can help such students also.
Correct.
To identify such people, make them realize, okay, there is a gap here, so how to bridge this gap. So maybe it can be a communication issues, or it can be a technical difficulty in terms of understanding. So if some of them will more probably more understand if it is more physically explained, not just over the blackboard. So understanding that, slightly making modification in terms of how we understand, I think it can certainly they can come back to a very good level on that.
Any particular modules you would suggest, training modules for these students?
One of the things, or probably two things which I felt generally people miss
from your experience.
One is on data analytics.
Data analytics.
So because a lot of industry work with a lot of data.
Correct.
And here we don't even look into it as an engineering student. So how do we manage that? Because data interpretation is very big important subject, and there's a huge amount of data in the industry.
How do we make sense? How do
we make sense? How do we take decisions?
How do you look at the big picture?
Or how do we progress once I have a data, which is totally missing? And data, gathering data itself is a big subject. So that has to be understood. So
data analytics.
Data analytics is one. Second is probably a Six Sigma. Six Sigma is one which will give much more depth into getting in the details of all the data.
Six Sigma also has certain levels.
Absolutely, yeah. So of course they can start with the lowest level and then start progressing. And even a lot of companies are looking at people who have basic understanding of Six Sigma. That is another
thing. They can pursue while they are doing their graduation.
They can do it, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Six Sigma and even this data
analytics. And data analytics, there are a lot of online courses.
Any particular trainers would you suggest, any benchmarks are there to look up to, or are there any certified trainers for these kind of?
I think there are many in Bangalore and even the Indian Statistical Institute has Six Sigma courses. So there are many in terms of that. Coming to the manufacturing per se, I think lean manufacturing is one thing which at least they should have an understanding, because it is something that every company wants to do it. So if they are not exposed to it, it becomes slightly difficult for them to catch up, because their industry would have been at already a certain level and they need to start from scratch. So these three things, if they are able to get some insight about that.
Data analytics, Six Sigma and lean manufacturing, especially for the students who are in the production and manufacturing side.
Six Sigma will be for all, be it design or be it anything. More of a general
and they can pursue this conveniently along with their graduation.
Absolutely, they can do it.
That is really a very good suggestion. And like most of our students are rural and semi-urban in VTU. What is your advice to them? What is your suggestion to them? Most of these rural students, and they have this inferiority complex, coming and meeting their counterparts in the colleges. But if you see them, they have very good attitude.
Absolutely.
Maybe they cannot converse, or they lack on the communications part of it. So what is your advice for these students?
I think that is where the technology in terms of social networking come in, because people might feel a little hesitated to talk, but they still type. So they can still communicate at least in a written mode. Apart from that, I think colleges also should take step further in terms of strengthening those skills which they generally lack. For example, like what you rightly said, if there is a communication issues, probably it might be because they are not exposed to the English language or whatever it is, be it. So, or the presentation skills, they might have stage fear.
Correct.
So the colleges or the professors or whoever it is should make subjects more like a interactive sessions where students come and talk rather than teachers keep talking. So this over a period of time, certainly this will help them to develop their presentation skills, communication skills, and they need to make a deliberate effort. I am talking about students.
Correct.
So they need to make a deliberate, whether it is right or wrong is not important. They need to take a step in terms of volunteering and trying to do a presentation. Or there are a lot of symposium which happens across even VTU and other colleges also. It doesn't matter whether you win that or you lose it. Participating and exposure is more critical. So those things I think they have to start looking at, and that will certainly make them feel more comfortable when they face an interview or when they go to an industry. They don't feel that we are left behind or something.
Yeah. How can we leverage on technology for imparting the requisite skills and knowledge to the students?
I think one network where
can you give us some examples?
Yeah, one network like mobile particularly it's almost there everywhere.
Yes.
Right. So having a kind of a Skype discussions or AVs which we can as a common forum that can be uploaded, students can also access. Particularly if we understand there is a problem with particular skill, like for example problem solving skill, which I felt is very, very crucial for anybody who is getting out, and industry wants that. And if there is no understanding of what is industry wants in terms of problem solving skill, they'll not be able to align. So giving some kind of a practical problems, posting it on the as an AV and sharing it with all the people.
So now you have those video based
yeah. So people can respond to it, give a solution. It's based on their own understanding of subjects or whatever it is. So a group can actually come to a common solution. So this actually will enhance their technical knowledge also, and they'll also be connected with the world, what is currently happening in the industry. So I think one is mobile network can be used extensively. And it has, because if there is no proper internet connectivity in terms of either satellite or anything, at least mobile network has to be utilized much better in terms of connecting rural people to what is happening in the industry, which can be done, I feel.
Which semester do you think would be appropriate to incorporate all these skills for students, or it should be from the beginning phased out till the end?
I think it should be throughout. But it has to be properly designed, phased manner. To what level you need to have exposure to the students, and different subjects will be at a different level. So in the first year we may not have to work more about on the soft skills or something, but on the pre-final year or final year, those things will matter a lot. So it has to be phased across the 4 years.
Bringing to that, are there any skills that the teachers themselves need to upgrade to enable the students better?
I think yes, in terms of because currently the system, at least when we were studying, the system was more of a blackboard teaching, which may not be much appealing to all of them in the class. So the methodology of teaching, as I said earlier, has to change from a learning experience or a learning environment. So it has to be a more of everything, more of videos, more of blackboard, something else of a case study kind of approach. Generally what we used to have is, when I was doing masters, was a particular case study used to be taken for the entire subject. So the whole course is taught based on that case study. So because the real life problems are not, it's not in isolation with anything else. It's a combination of concepts.
True.
So we learn one
Correct.
subject, second subject, third subject in isolation. The real life problem is combination of all that.
Yes.
So it has to be taken as a case study, and each concepts are built in whenever there is a requirement, and that is applied to that case study. So people start feeling, yes, we are connected to the subject, we are understanding it, and we are knowing what is happening. So this kind of approach in terms of teaching, it's the same subject, same syllabus, the methodology is different. So if that changes happen, I think students will be more interested in learning what it is.
Instead of a particular methodology, a good mix of everything.
Good mix of everything. So which can appeal to a much larger mass of students.
Yes. How important are internships, Pramod? Any learnings from your side which you would like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, see, most of interns, even we get interns in our company, and the only problem with that is they have a very short period of time. So if time slightly can be extended for internship, and they do really good job when they come to industry, particularly students, during that period, because they know it's maybe a 15 days or 20 days, whatever time it is. So they try to concentrate more and get a lot of inputs at that particular time. So only thing that can be changed in that is it has to be more towards the outcome. It should not end up with some report or something. It should be more of an outcome.
Yes.
So like what I said, the problem solving capability of students. So it can be a small problem which can be addressed and thought about, come to a conclusion. That can be certainly presented to the industry. So it starts, and industry starts noticing if the students are really good. So they also have an opportunity later on to get into the same company or something.
Yeah.
So it is important, and it has to be at least 2-3 sets. It cannot be a one internship, because they again get disconnected.
Yeah.
So there has to be a continuity in internship also.
Yes.
So that will really make them feel
that's a nice point you said. That should end up them associating with the company, or an employment in the company. So that the learning is also higher, and they get a better perspective also at the end of it. Will a course on leadership help the students face the world better? And if so, at what semester would it be appropriate?
Yeah, leadership is a much wider subject.
Yes.
And I think some of the aspects of leadership can be trained, and as I said, the programs has to have some continuity in the college. It should not be I do it one program and leave it. That will not give results basically. So there has to be a continuity. Like for example, a time management may be a kind of a course, which will help them to manage even their own studies, their own in later on in the industry, and it has to be a continuous kind of upgrade in the course, or even any leadership programs or communication programs or anything that
follow-up should be there.
Follow-up should be there, and it has to be leveled up. So what do we do in a first kind of a training? What do we do in a second kind of training? So it has to be, there has to be continuity, and it has to be leveled up.
Students should be given platforms to display the same skills which they learned out there. Okay. Can you share with us one of your proudest moments in your career or while studying with our viewers?
Okay. There are many. So
I'm sure.
one of the probably the proudest moment which I had in my career was when I was given a very tough assignment, and we had very less time to design a very small kind of an automation which works without any energy. So there is no electrical energy, there is nothing outside energy that is consumed. So it was we were a group of 3 who had to do it, and we had about 1 week time. So we had to design it, we had to manufacture it, and we have to test run it. So that was, of course, it was a very tough task.
Yes.
But I think the end of 1 week we were very happy. We could do it finally.
Oh.
So we had almost working for 16 to 18 hours every day. but I think in the process of that we learned a lot of things. So it not just that particular moment, but the all aspects of design, manufacturing,
being together as a
team. How do we share responsibilities? And when we presented to the management, the kind of appreciation we got, I think that was one thing which stands.
Like you said, it should be a good balance of management, human engineering, as well as technical. Absolutely. I think this would have balanced both. All skills.
Because you cannot work in isolation. You have to work in a team. So it has to be that team effort has to be there.
I think the ability to get along well with the team is very important.
Absolutely.
So any difficult moment which you have successfully negotiated and you'd like to share with our viewers?
I think when we were working on improving the quality levels, we had a very stringent target of getting into a very low ppm levels.
Okay.
And as I said, always it works with a timeline. Any target comes with a timeline. So, and the stakeholders involved were very large number of people. A very wide variety of departments, people who are contributing, right from vendors to in-house and everything. I think it was a tough thing. It was a very tough thing to get into the level of quality levels particularly. The approach towards it was much different than what we actually do in the normal way. So it was more like a breakdown structure. We had the overall plan, and getting into the breaking down the entire plan into small bits, and looking at each small bit as minute as possible. And you need to make improvements or corrections at the smallest possible level. Correct. And then start accumulating it. So we had a tough time, but I think and
you had to communicate it to
a lot of
stakeholders.
And anybody can go wrong.
Yes.
And that will impact this. So this is one thing which was probably it was almost a 6-7 months kind of a project.
Okay.
But it requires every day the same amount of energy, the same amount of detailing, the same amount of effort by everybody in the team. And the commitment is very important.
Sustenance.
Absolutely. So it was tough time, but I think we did it finally.
It paid off.
It paid off. Certainly it paid off. So those things, actually most of the proudest moments come with such difficult problems which we have faced.
At the end of it, you really feel nice having accomplished something really big. What's your message for VTU students, Pramod?
Okay, one is students should understand that industry is all about solving problems. So it's not about a job. You get into a job, it is all about solving some problem in that particular process or a system or whatever it is. So people should start understanding and should start looking at what are the practical problems industries are facing as of now. And they need to understand at a system level how things work. What we do it's probably a individual effort. In colleges we learn subjects, but we don't learn as a system. So people should understand, or even the colleges can make some effort on that, but students can initiate and understand how a system works in a company, because it's all related to a system, either a quality system or a production system. So it is all about a system that works together. So one is they have to develop a skill of problem solving, wherein, as I said, Six Sigma and all those things will help them. Data analytics will certainly help them. Other thing is, how do we work as a team? So it has to be there, and there will be a lot of discomforts. There will be a lot of arguments, discussions which happens, but ultimately the end result is more important. So these are all the process which happens. So they need to understand that we have to work as a team. We cannot work isolated. Yes. So if the project per se, whatever colleges have by the end of their engineering or something, there have to be teamwork which is displayed there. So it starts from there, and throughout the career, whatever 30 years, 40 years students will have in their industry career, it is a teamwork. So it cannot be different of anything different of that. So they need to develop on that skills, on teamwork. How do we manage? The third thing I would say is a project management. I'm not very sure how much of exposure they have
Yes.
in the current engineering system, but they can get into a lot of information through internet or any books. How do we manage a project? Because everything, as I said, is a problem is then converted to a project is what they have to finally handle it. So either be a part of it or be a head of a project, but they have to finally manage a project.
Yes.
So it has to be a project management. How do we do it, and how do we plan our activities, and then so how do we also allocate, deploy and designate things, thereby they get the results in the right time. So everything is linked to the targets. Everything has a deadline, which generally we don't have in the engineering system. So it has to be planned well. So all those skills in terms of project management, in terms of problem solving, or understanding the current situation of industry, making an effort to learn what are the new technologies which are coming in whichever subject they are interested in. So that will give certainly an edge to them, and that will certainly enhance their confidence level.
Yeah, they should be in this ever mode of learning.
Continuous learning is very, very critical.
Yeah.
And they need to realize that how do I do better tomorrow?
Yes.
So anything that is even a small step taken towards improving something in the long run will give a lot of benefit.
Okay.
So that constant thought of the attitude, basically the attitude, that's what industry will finally look at.
Yes.
Does a person has an attitude to learn and improve?
Yes,
that matters a lot.
Knowledge and skills can be part, but attitude, you have to develop a good attitude. Yes. Thank you so much, Pramod. It was great having you here.
Thank you.
And thanks for sharing your experiences and thoughts. I'm sure it must have had a great impact on our viewers. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.